This is not the build. You may have seen my recent video where I completely tore out the interior I had built in my Topo Toppers Mesa camper. I'm giving myself the entire dry season here in Western Oregon. That could be into September, even October, to finish the new build. In the meantime, I do still need to get out on adventures. Now you'll see the interior of the camper a number of times, and I know there's going to be some questions. Some of my friends have already seen this and were immediately curious about these drawers. So I'm going to go through what I've done here real quick. As I mentioned in the teardown video, I did leave my sort of electrical infrastructure in place. These wiring blocks and my compressor were previously enclosed in the sort of napping bench that I had right here. I left those in place and built a super simple little structure on top of it, in part to protect it and in part to give me a step up into the bed, and in part this gives me a place to set my Jackery 1500, which powers all of this. And this I just have to manually plug in each time. The compressor does not run off the Jackery. This is hardwired to the battery. I do have a kill switch, which I've just wedged in here, and with that on, the compressor is now directly connected to the truck battery. Now the Jackery can't ride here because there's no real way to secure it, so it actually rides down on the floor, sort of wedged in with everything else that I'm carrying. So when I get to camp, I have to set it up here and plug it in. But then it does power up all of my electrical so that my lights work. The cabinet that I had right here had sort of a countertop, and at the end of it I had switches built in. I just cut the end of that piece of wood off and I have just wedged it in there so that I still have access to switches for my red lights that I use when I get up in the middle of the night, and a couple of USB ports here, and then this is a 12-volt outlet for my electric blanket that I turn on and off right here with that switch. So when the bed is deployed, the bed comes up to about here. I can simply reach up and access all these. Now the inside of the cargo door here is very exciting. When you open it up, you get, a blank wall. This is just a piece of foam insulation that I was previously using as a faux tailgate, just to give me an access point for the diesel heater. This is a little bit of a rinky-dink test setup. My back wall made out of scraps of foam insulation. I've put it up here instead, so the diesel heater can now sit on the table right here, and I don't have to do the ridiculous crawl over my fake back wall there. I had already gone back to using my folding table for my kitchen, so I've just been setting that there. That does still give me access to this light, and that foam wall is built in here in about the most ridiculous way. It partially just wedged in there. It fit almost perfectly. I did not actually cut it at all. I just used an assortment of tape to pin it to the other pieces of insulation that were already there. I had to wedge a little piece of wood in there. There's some more tape, and one little piece of unistrut bolted to the Utilitrack is giving that just a little bit more support right there. That just took me a matter of minutes to throw together, and it's working just fine. This gives me a nice access for the heater duct to come in. I can let it drop down in here to heat the space, or when the bed is deployed, I can actually bring the duct up here and it pushes more heat into the rest of the wedge. Now I'll talk about those drawers in a minute. I realized that by sticking them there, they were almost enough to support my little nap couch. So I temporarily built in just a little bit of scrap wood, just sitting on a piece of 2x6 there, which was just the right height, and the wheel well right there. Now everyone who sees this thinks that I cut down my old couch, but that is the exact same piece of foam. This truck bed is 5 feet by 5 feet, so it doesn't matter which way you go, it's the same. So for now, I do still have a little spot to sit in the evening if I want to hang out here before I get into bed, and a spot to take an afternoon nap when I want to. Now, if you're super up to date on my channel, you'll know that following some health issues, I've been helping my dad clear out his property in Klamath Falls as he's moved to another town. My dad was an electrical contractor, and he had a number of work vans that his employees would use to go out to jobs, and some of the vans had these drawers in them. So these are built more for sort of contractor use. They are all aluminum, and this thing is super sturdy. You can actually walk on it. You can put it in, you know, the bottom of your van or truck or whatever and walk right on it with no problem. The drawers are super heavy duty. You can load these up with hardware. I thought I would just use this for now to have some place to put clothes and other things that I might need while I'm out, so I don't have to have a duffel bag or something else floating around here with all of the other crates and cases that I now need to pack in and out of the truck. And when I first did some research on these drawers after I picked up this one from my dad's place, I thought I had seen that these were not very expensive, but I apparently misplaced a decimal point. These actually are quite expensive. There's a number of companies that make these. They are all aluminum, very sturdy, and they are not cheap. I thought this was an intriguing potential solution because you can walk on them, but the other thing what I like about it is that it's small enough that you can actually open the drawers inside your space. The problem with something like a decked drawer is that, yeah, you get a lot of storage and you can walk on it, but you can't actually access what's in it when you're inside your space or on top of it. You have to be outside, open your tailgate, pull out the drawers. Now what I found as I've been using this is that these drawers are pretty shallow and I couldn't get quite as much in there as I was thinking that I would be able to. I camped for, let's see, 4 days, 3 nights. I barely got enough clothes in there for a 4-day trip, considering that I'm also using some of the space for utility stuff like my first aid kit, and the heater duct is riding right there for now. So anyway, if you see these drawers in some upcoming adventure videos, now you know what that is. That is not the permanent long-term solution that will be coming back out of here. Everything else that I normally take with me is now just in crates and boxes that I have to sort of Tetris into the back of the camper. This includes an old Pelican case full of kitchen essentials, a tote containing the diesel heater components, another tote where I've stuffed my water jug, garbage bucket, and folding table, my stove, and my power station. And so when I arrive at camp, it all has to come out, get set up, and when it's time to break down, it all has to get packed away and fit back in there. And it's really not all that terribly time consuming. I've certainly seen people whose camp setups and breakdowns take longer. For me personally, the evening hours and the morning hours when I'm setting up camp or breaking down camp are also when the light is the nicest. It's when I want to be out filming, the sun coming up or the sun going down, and the nice light splashing across the landscape. I don't camp to camp. The camping experience is not necessarily why I'm out there. I'm out there to explore, film what I find, and I have to camp in order to have some place to sleep each night. For most people, this could still be a viable solution because this retains a huge amount of truck space when you're not camping. You could haul all kinds of things in here. Even if you had some minimal stuff built in, this is a much more usable truck space than the way I had it built before. Now my goal for the new build is to eliminate any wood at all, so all of this will go away. And I do want to achieve a setup that doesn't require so much pulling stuff out, putting stuff away. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, I hope you found this quick little video interesting or useful or helpful in some way. Next week, we will get back to part 2 of the adventure you saw last week, and part 2 will be in full color as promised. If you have any questions about anything that I just showed you here, just post them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.